So Astrid, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Okay, let me just start with a bit of background, where I come from and what I've been doing before I arrived in New Zealand. I'm from Bangladesh, from the capital city Dhaka, and I used to work for an international company. It's development. This is part of the British High Commission, so I have almost over 15 years of work experience for an international development organization. It's a UK government department, and the company that I used to work for was called Department for International Development. So it was a donor organization in Bangladesh, working to, or uplift the poor people there. And I worked, in a number of different roles and capacities. I started at the very junior level as in, a team assistant, working to a number of different teams within the organization, and then slowly worked my way up. Finally, as the procurement and program manager. And the reason why I'm here is partly because of that. Because having, worked in a generalist position for a number of years, and then, being promoted finally to procurement manager, I thought it was a huge opportunity for me to enter into a professional stream. And with the, the experience that I kind of gained out of, my work, I thought I could, or rather, I should have some kind of an academic qualification to go along with that. So technical as well as, the on-the-ground experience. And yeah, I'm here, on the basis of that.
So you mentioned that, you had a really responsible, in fact, you've had responsible positions throughout your career, and it's interesting that after all of that time, you can see an opportunity in New Zealand, and particularly with New Zealand Career College. So why did you, firstly, why New Zealand? And secondly, maybe a little bit about your choice of New Zealand Career College.
Right. In terms of your first question, New Zealand, honestly, I had the choice of choosing Australia or the UK, but I was not that keen. The UK, because I've been to the UK on a number of occasions, and I was not enamored by me staying there long term. For a short term, it's okay. In terms of Australia or New Zealand, I didn't have anybody either in Australia or New Zealand, so it was basically equal ground. I could have ended up in either, country. But the reason why I chose NZCC is because the nature of the course structure is very different from any of, the SIPS courses that you would expect to see around the world. UK being the largest, obviously, because it's a UK degree. Australia, again, follows the SIPS style. But the added advantage that NZCC gave me was I not only get the opportunity to get, a SIPS Level 4 certification, I actually get a dual certification, which is the New Zealand, government qualification, and I also have 8 subjects, not your normal 5 that you would get out of, the regular SIPS courses. So I thought that with the money that I'm paying, that I would, expect to pay, equal amounts either in the UK or Australia, perhaps even more in the UK because of the living, standards. But for that amount of money, I mean, you look at the cost-benefit analysis, and it worked out. I'm getting much more out of, the amounts that I would be paying. So, yeah.
So I understand that ultimately you, in terms of... Have you turned it off?
No, I haven't. I've left it recording. Just
okay.
Having a break between questions.
In terms of academic qualifications, your end game is full membership of SIPS?
Absolutely. Yeah, my target is basically to complete level 6 of the SIPS qualification, and then to achieve the MSIPS, accreditation, because that's hugely in demand in the market. An MSIPS qualification, I think, will get me places. Just to put it,
And in New Zealand in particular, I understand that the market here is in real need of procurement specialists. In fact, we have probably less than 100 SIPS qualified people in the country, and probably far less full members of SIPS. So there really is an opportunity to
you see,
work here.
Yeah, I'm glad. I mean, I got that information when I got here. I didn't have that information when before coming, but I'm glad, it just worked out the way it did, because there's a lot more opportunities here. The way I saw it was, I wanted an internationally qualified degree, in the profession that I see my career in, i.e. procurement and supply, in a managerial role or in a role of consultant or a commercial advisor. And from when I was thinking about and making an assessment and a judgment as to what it is my next course of action should be, I chose New Zealand because I like the environment. In terms of security, it's much better than the UK or Australia, because I heard quite a lot recently about the security conditions and or student affairs and stuff like that from newspaper articles, but nothing on New Zealand. So I thought it was a safe environment to come. People respected and appreciate diversity, and they welcomed our international, be it students or immigrants. They were very reciprocal towards them. That was my objective of coming to New Zealand. But having come here, I got that added information, which is a bonus, and I was like, cool, I mean, as soon as I finish the degree, the opportunities are just there waiting to be taken. So,
and in fact, I understand that you're already getting nibbles in the marketplace, so there's potential for even part-time employment in procurement at this stage, early stage of your qualification, which is really good news.
Yes, absolutely great news. If it does materialize, I couldn't have asked for more, and in a better working environment, because at the early stages, to be able to have that opportunity within the profession is quite difficult, to be honest, and it will play a huge part in going forward, because I will very quickly have acquired the local knowledge, the business environment while I'm studying. So during the study period, I will have quite a lot of valuable information, maybe even shape myself up for the market that I will be entering into. So I'll have that advantage over probably the other candidates.
And full membership of SIPS, as I understand it, is on the long-term skills shortage list in New Zealand. So I can see there's a reason for that being the end point, or the goal, at least for yourself. I guess that doesn't mean, though, those who just go for the SIPS qualification initially, there is also an employment pathway available here in New Zealand for them as well.
Yes, which is great, because my end focus and long-term plans and directions would be just that. Having invested the time and money, I would hope that I can make I can make this my home at the end of the day, basically, once I've completed the course and found myself a good job. So yeah, I'm working towards that, and if everything comes into line with that, perfect.
So New Zealand isn't your home, and it has become, you want it to be your home, but you've made a great sacrifice to come here to New Zealand. Tell me a bit about that.
Absolutely, I made a huge sacrifice. To be very honest, all these years that I've worked and my savings, I've invested it on the course. So whatever I've got as my gratuity for the last 15 years has all kind of been spent on this. I saw it as a huge kind of an investment where I know that the gains would be in equal measure or even more. So I didn't mind that. But imagine somebody who's worked practically all her life and then investing that savings on something which you're hoping will yield results, but you have to work really hard towards getting those results. And then I left back my family, my parents who were dependent on me. So emotionally, that's the emotional side. And not to mention my husband as well, who's in...
We mustn't forget your husband, no.
No, of course not. How could I?
So where is he currently?
He is in Nigeria. He's a Nigerian, and he's been there for about 2 years. But I'm hoping, once everything works out, that he will be here with me. Because you do need a support system. It's crucial, it's vital, it's important. And anybody with a family, obviously will know that your family is your support system. So.
How have you found the learning environment at New Zealand Career College?
I don't have much to compare it with, but honestly, as a starter to because when I left school, I was quite young, and then I studied kind of in a distant learning environment. But being a full-time student at Career College, I mentioned this to Harjinder, who supported me in the entire process to be here. I couldn't have chosen a better institute. First, because they treat a student, as the personalized treatment that they give you. Apart from the money, I don't quite get the money equation coming into the picture every time somebody deals with you. It's on a very one-to-one basis. And that quality, I mean, where would you get it in another institute? Because it's so commercialized. All they think about is a head count and the money rolling in. Yes, quality of studies are important to most institutes, but with Career College, it's every individual matters to them, and they do take the time, and I've seen it personally.
So would you recommend New Zealand Career
I
College?
would definitely. I would recommend it without a second thought. To anybody thinking of coming in new. You need, like I said, apart from your family, the next support system would be, the environment that you're in and spending the maximum amount of your time. And this is where I spend, my maximum amount of time. And to be getting that support here in my initial months is a huge help, because it helps you from kind of being homesick, entering into depressions.
And you're making friends?
Yes, I am making friends a lot on the campus though, because I had to get the time to go out. So the people, the members on the campus, Debbie, Sharon, Christina, all of them are a huge help. They're so friendly, they're so friendly. It's like second home basically. So.
Great.
Sorry, can we just wrap
Wrap
up?
up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because the other boys need
Oh,
to be
okay.
photographed
No,
as well, and they've got to
one more
leave and
question.
whatnot.
It was a good one. I haven't
Sorry.
I haven't asked any of these questions. Well, I saw that.
Yeah, I know.
But you
I-
did. You touched on quite a few of them.
It's
actually.
cool. We can get you to ask
You
some of
did.
these later via email, so we can quite.
This is going on our website. You know that?
No, I'm talking about these different questions.
No, we pretty much
It's just
covered.
Yeah, we pretty covered it.
Oh, there was one other question, just quickly. You've got, is this still going?
Yes.
You've got undergraduate qualifications
I do.
and you've got other diplomas.
Yeah.
Now, for a lot of international students, particularly in India subcontinent, they come to, say, an Education New Zealand fair and they say, I want to do a master's degree at university. And you had that opportunity as well, and it would be a natural sort of pathway. Why would you choose to do a vocational specialist qualification as opposed to, say, a master's degree? And then you could have MCom beside your name.
It's not the degree or the the suffix that I was looking for after my name. It's more what is it that I could do that would provide me the maximum benefit in terms of the working environment. Yeah. So I want a qualification that doesn't just give me the book knowledge. I want a qualification that gives me the practical knowledge of the industry. So I can once I complete it, I can hit the ground running, and just demonstrate that yes, I can do the job, rather than somebody who comes from an academic background. It will obviously take them a bit of time to understand the working environment, the semantics of how things go about, how it operates. But hopefully once I've completed the course with the knowledge that I'm getting on the practical side, and in the future maybe an internship, will all help towards getting into a job even faster and performing to the standard of the requirements.
Fantastic. Thanks, Astrid.
Okay.